3. Okay. Hi, Connie, Diana, and Deanne. I'm trying to see if you guys can let me know. It seems like this is a little laggy, and I don't want to get too far into what we're doing if it is. So I don't know if it was just like the beginning of the Facebook Live. So if it seems like if for some reason it's getting laggy or hesitating, please let me know because I might switch to YouTube. But I think it looks okay now. It was just the beginning, hopefully. Hi, Carol. Thank you guys for joining me. I know I'm on early today, but it's been, I was actually going to go in a little bit earlier, but we had snow. So we actually just came in from sleigh riding, and they came in for lunch break. And so I thought I would get on, that way it's not dark, so we can do some of this before dark. Looks good. Good. Okay. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Hi, Laurie. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Getting all choked up. I know I was hesitating, Diane, a little bit in the beginning, but it seems I haven't noticed anything because I saw that it was kind of when I was grabbing the DSP I wanted to share with you guys. Looks good now. Awesome. Okay. So before we get started, I want to show you, I thought it would be fun to make some thank you cards. And since we have some DSP that maybe we want to use up so we can buy some new stuff. So all of the paper I have, I actually cut this all this morning. So I almost pre-prepared for this a little bit, just a teeny bit. But I am using the rest of my Snowflake Splendor. Now, I'm not going to make all these cards, but basically I cut what I had left. So there's some of it. And then here's the other side. And I figured a lot of it is kind of soft enough that even if you didn't really want to necessarily use this side, you could switch to this side. So I'm going to make a bunch of thank you cards. I have several to send to my students who gave me, and the other teacher actually, the real teacher and me, they gave us some gifts on Tuesday because we were supposed to get snow. So a lot of people I think brought stuff in early, which was so kind. So I want to finish some of these up so I can give some away. And I thought, what better way? Get rid of some of the winter paper. There are a few things that are carrying over, but the Twall Tidings is retiring. Trimming the Town DSP is retiring. The Poinsettia paper is retiring. So I'll just tell you, Heartwarming Hugs is carrying over. The brushed foil cardstock, I was trying to think of what it's called, is carrying over. And I think there's one more. I can't remember what the other one is, but those are carrying over. You're supposed to use it before you buy. No, that's not true, but I figured I might as well because I have been trying my best not to be a hoarder so I can buy new paper. So speaking of new paper, I'm going to just show you a couple things real quick. So I have the DSP and the ribbon share. Donna, you make me laugh. That's so funny. Who knew? Oh, that was a good one. I like it. Thank you. I needed a good laugh today. So this is some of the, and I'll show you the other side in one second. Let me pull this up. The great DSP that's in, I think it's like a gentleman bundle. I can't remember. I bought this. I still haven't used any of it, but it's really, really, really nice. It has a lot of great patterns. I can see us making some awesome shirt patterns for this, right? Super cool. And then the other side, I'm just going to pull it out, it's be easier for you to see, is this. So there's some really nice patterns. So remember, if you haven't seen those dies yet, they make suits. I've seen some amazing cards. So those are really cool. One other one, that's called Well Suited. That's what the bundle is called. This I had to share with you because if you see this in person, if you're actually making cards instead of what, no, you can listen to me and make cards at the same time. That's what I do. You know what's funny is while I was setting this up earlier, I was watching Julie DiMatteo make a box that I had no intention, but I was like, well, I'll just listen to her craft because it made me feel like I was crafting with somebody. So I did that. This paper is so, look, you can see the reflection of the snow back there. It's so pretty. This is the Valentine's foil. So it's kind of hard to describe. This one is like, it's kind of like a champagne-y silver. But then there's one that's like a light pink. And then there's like a darker pink. They're very hard to describe, but they are so pretty in person, especially because they kind of reflect whatever color's in the room. They're really nice. So if you haven't taken a look at these, and I know we're kind of limited with foil, but oh, you know what else is carrying over is the velvet and the black glitter paper. Those are carrying over, so that's fun. But these, when I pull these out, they're so pretty. And one other thing I want to show you I actually have my hands on because we were able to pre-order this. So if you do the DSP share, you will get a share of this as well because I thought it would be kind of fun. This is the 2020-2022. It's the in colors, which we already know what those colors are. It isn't a surprise, but they do put out new patterns every year. So these are the patterns. And then this is the other side. So just a sampling. If you do the DSP share with me, you will get a sampling of those, which is pretty fun. Now this comes, these are 6x6. And then the other one that was really pretty, actually I shouldn't say the other one because both of them were, but the Berry Delightful, this is a beautiful, I'm not even going to go through this because it's going to be long, but they have raspberries and they look, I want to show you the strawberries though. They look just like actual strawberries because you know how there's like ones that are still green, they're light pink, they're dark, they're red. It is really, really pretty paper. And then look at the other side. It's like the seeds. This is a great paper. This is one of the ones that you can get free for Celebration, which this year is only going to be 2 months. So it's only January and February, and then they're going to do another one in, I think it's June and July. So that's good because it won't be like the thing that never ends. The blackberry paper is really pretty. It is really beautiful. So it must be like a watercolor. Look at the blueberries. They look really like actually real blueberries. And then the other one that honestly I thought, so that is, I think that's a freebie for Celebration. All the pricing, Jamie, is listed on my blog. If you go to rachthestamper.com, there is a thing that says DSP share. There's one for paper, there's one for ribbon, and then there's one for both. But that's all up there. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. The paper blooms, which kind of like, you're like, it is really pretty. This one I think is my favorite. Hold on, I want to show you. It's such a fun pattern. Isn't that fun? The little dots. I love them. They are so cute. So they have that and then the flowers. It's very, one thing I like about this paper is it's really crisp. It's not like too much. So this is really pretty. It's got a beautiful background. I always like when they have a navy with the flowers, but all of the paper, if it is 12 by 12, will be cut down to 6 by 6. But I like to cut mine into 6 by 12s in case I want to use a long piece for something. So that is a few of the papers. Those are the ones I pre-ordered early because I got the Celebration ones and then some I just wanted to see what they looked like. And I feel like the Berry one. So the Celebration, the paper, you also get the stamp set. So that's the Celebration. It's a $100 one. So you get the stamp set and the paper that goes with it, which is really pretty. It's got some really nice, I love the fonts on these. I think they're really pretty. So if you're interested, head over. If for some reason, sometimes with my blog, and I'm gonna pop one here real quick because I want to show you one thing. Sometimes I have it changed so it's right there in front, and sometimes you have to click something first. So let me just pull it up and I can tell you. That one. Sometimes this is so weird how it does this. I'm gonna have to make sure I put it on the top because even right now it's not popping up. Oh, okay. So if you click, sorry, this is like the lamest way to show you this, but if you're on my blog here, and if you click Shop Now, there'll be a little black drop down, and if you click that, it says 2021 DSP and ribbon shares, and then it'll give you all the information about everything on there. So I'm going to put that when we're finished. I'm going to put it so it's one that you can see a little bit easier because now it's a little bit hard to try to find. But anyway, okay. So one other thing, I got a few things. I did a couple of these ahead of time. I did do a little bit of the felt die cutting because I only have a partial piece of the white left. The felt is retiring. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to show you this before. So this is called Pearlized Paper. It's not going to be very easy to see, I think. I think it's going to have to be when we go down to the table. But anyway, this paper is a new 12 by 12 paper that is going to be in the spring catalog. And yeah, I don't even think it's called Pearlized Specialty paper. So I just cut a 4 by 12 piece of it. It is, so you can see, it even kind of gives a rainbow effect when the light is hitting it. It's so pretty. So I stamped on a piece, so you could see. I die cut a piece. I'm not sure. I really wonder what you could do with this with maybe like watercoloring It's really, really pretty. It is a little bit thinner, so it's not thick like shimmery white. It's definitely a little bit thinner, but I wanted to play with this because I'm hoping that this will be like a super big seller and they'll keep it, so we have another white, we have like another white option. By the way, in case you missed it, Basic White is replacing Whisper White, but we're not sure of the timeline yet, so there is still some Whisper White. Thick Whisper White sold out, I think that was already probably sold out before that. But anyway, so the stamp sets we're going to use today, in case you're going to, or you're watching this after the fact on the replay, I got Painted Poppies. Mainly, specifically, I brought it out for the dies. I have Peaceful Moments because it has a really nice thank you. I have So Sentimental because this has a thank you. And then this one also you can get with a die bundle. So I did get that. I stamped a couple things already. And then one more that I'm really sad is retiring because this has beautiful fonts as well is Beautiful Autumn. A lot of stamp sets are already sold out and maybe they might still have the punch. So I know a lot of people missed out on the Merry Moose punch. The punch is still available, but ironically the Merry Moose stamp set is sold out. So if you happen to still need the punch, there are also some things on there where the stamp set is on sale or the dies are on sale. So price yourself before you buy the bundle because it might be cheaper to buy whatever the thing is on sale and then the other part, the other component of it. But just kind of look at that before you go through with your purchases on there. The host code is on the top of the page here when I logged on, and I will put it on here when we go down. So the difference between this, I did see your picture, Donna, about shimmer. It's definitely thinner. But hold on, I'll get a piece out so we can compare. Shimmer is more of... it's definitely thicker, so you could use this almost like a watercolor paper because you can it does not wiggle. This is much thinner. You can totally tell the difference of these when you feel them. First of all, it's very smooth though, and it is really, instead of like sparkly, it's more like an opal, if that makes sense, or kind of like you know how when you look at oysters and they'll have those like pearlescent strands, even though they kind of look like bluish green, it's very pretty, but it is significantly thinner than shimmery white for sure. And it's not really sparkly. It's more like an opal sheen. It's very, very pretty. That is a good question. Probably because it's the end of the catalog. They only make stamp sets in-house, but any stamp set, I think once they get to the end of the catalog production, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe that's why it's retiring. I'm not really sure. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't really know. But I'm glad I have it because I love that stamp. It's so, so cute. Okay, so let me just pop this back on here so I can see your comments on Facebook. All right, and what I'm going to do is let me move my water over, and I got a whole bunch. I even pre-cut some card bases for these cards, so I'm going to kind of see what goes better. I'm sorry, oh my god, these are in such a jumbly knot. You know, it's like every time you wrap something up, I think I do a good job. And then the mystery knot tire must come behind me. Just kidding. There's no mystery knot tire. It's just me being ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to put my microphone on just in case there's any really loud background noise. So I'll flip you around. Yeah, I guess kind of like pearl ornaments. That's a good way to put it, Lori. It really is very, very, very pretty. Okay, give me one sec. Let me move this. And let me scoot this out of the way. And I'm going to show you a little sneaky peek. Look at this card. This is with the new cactus medley. Isn't this pretty? So cute. Show you the inside because I really took myself to another level on that. There's a little die cut for this. Isn't that pretty? It's so cute. It's this actually, the medley, and I'm going to do some videos with this. This actually is a sheet of die cut. So this one, the medley, does not include any stickers, which will probably make some people very happy, myself included, because I'm going to plug in my mic here. Sorry about that. I don't really like the stickers. It's not really my thing. They're not my favorite. So All right, and we'll see. I'm actually going to lay this onto some blue so you can see what it looks like. Let's see. Move this over here. So, what is this? Oh, this is a piece of shimmery white now that I look at it. All right, let me slide this down just a smidge. And so, I can't tell if you can. I'm going to tell you one other thing. The shimmery white is not white. It is not a white paper, not shimmery. The pearlescent paper is not white. It is very more of a off-white, almost like a vanilla white cross, because this outer part, this is the shimmery white. It is definitely not white. And here I'll show you on a piece of, this is Thick Whisper white. You can see how unwhite it is, but it is really, really pretty. It is a really pretty paper. So, all right, so there's that. So I did do a little bit of stamping. I still have a little piece left. So, and I basically just cut. So again, this was the Snowflake Splendor DSP. So what I have was some pieces that were 6 by 12. So like, for example, these three go together, and then I had a strip. So I figured what I could do for the strip is we could put this on the inside of the card or something. So we're going to try that. And I like this too because it almost looks like the burst. If you remember from a long time ago when you were growing up, how you used to have those little burst icicles on your window. It's really pretty. So I just went ahead and picked out, I got some Misty Moonlight, some Pool Party. Oh, this looks really pretty together. I love Pool Party in Navy. Pool Party in Navy. I grabbed a couple Thick Whisper whites. These aren't going to be like highly intricate cards, but for the first one, I thought we could make this together because I kind of already cut some of this out. So I'm going to show you what I did, and then we can just go from there. I even embossed, and it's around here somewhere, I even embossed a piece of the felt that I had left. Since it was the last piece, I was like, well, I might as well. So I'm going to show you this very first one. This is one that I kind of already did some of it, but I thought it would be a really neat way to start it. So I have Pacific Point. Only thing I forgot to do, I didn't score any of these. I'm just going to score this. 5.5. So it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. That seems crooked. Hold on, let me take a peek here. It does look a little bit. Oh, maybe it's me. I don't know. All right, so there's that. So just as a total sidebar, this has absolutely nothing. I don't even know what made this come into my mind, but has anybody, and I know Donna, you may have, has anybody tried to watch Peaky Blinders on Netflix? It probably was somewhere before that. It is the most confusing show to me. We tried to watch it last night, and we got almost through an episode, but I was falling asleep. Does it get better? Because the girl from, what is that movie we watched with the chess? The Queen's Gambit. Looks like she is in it. So that's kind of why we decided to start watching it. But does anybody watch that show? So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I remember a while ago we made those little snow drifts. So I just kind of stuck this piece of felt to the bottom because I thought it would kind of look like snow. This is just a trial run that I did with that pearlescent paper. So I did this with the So Sentimental scallop stitched rectangles. That's a mouthful. And I thought it was cute. And then I looked at the white and I was like, it felt like it needed something. So I just took this little extra piece and I was going to pop this on. I trimmed this just so slightly so it was like piece to piece. So we're going to put this one together. And in the meantime, I'm going to think about what we're going to do this side, right? Yep. What? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I already glued that there. Never mind. I'm just talking out loud. I have my glue that is almost to the dead zone. I think it might actually be to the dead zone. Yep. So I'll get out my new glue. So I was trying to watch Peaky Blinders, but I can't figure out if it's something that we should try to stick with or what. The Queen's Gambit, in case you didn't watch it, was an excellent, excellent series. It was just a one season thing, which I think now we're all spoiled because we're used to it going from season to season, but it was a great show. So here is the pearlescent. I still don't think this is doing it justice. I'll try to move it to see if you can kind of see there. So I'm going to put this piece of cardstock just to kind of break up here. I'm going to just glue this down, and I think I'm going to pop part of it up. So I just kind of trimmed this. I did like a little bit of quick measuring, and then I just trimmed it so it would fit inside of the stitching. Just like so. And I think I'm going to put this up on dimensionals too. Let me see. You guys would be so proud of me. I actually reorganized. I shouldn't say organized. I cleaned and straightened up my stamp room yesterday because I knew I was going to be live today. So I was like, I was trying to be productive since we were home yesterday as well. So I just stamped the thank you in Night of Navy. I probably should have done it in Pacific Point, but you know, what are you going to do after the fact? And then just thought like a little snowbank, just something simple. Doesn't have to be crazy. And since I popped up that thank you, I'm just going to glue this straight down. So simple, little stamping. I'm definitely going to need to put a, I guess I don't have to. If I have black, I can write with black ink. So I'm going to do this one. Probably just with black. Maybe I'll add a little something to it. But since I have all these pieces here, get some of my little scraps. Let's see if I can find one of the colors that I actually used. There you go. I'm going to use the inside, and I'm going to stick with it. So same thing. I'm just going to put this kind of down at the bottom. Doesn't have to be even the full piece, but I'm going to make sure that it kind of measures so it's simple. Just like that. Let me put this over here. One other thing I'm going to add, and I kind of like this, especially for the kids at school since I am sending it to them. The thank you, you shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. So I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to add that one little last part in there. And since I stamped the front part in navy, I normally would have done the same thing again, but I'm going to stick with black just so it's, I don't want to do it in Pacific Point and it doesn't show up. So I figure black will definitely show up. And there you go. So that actually stands out really nicely. So there's one. So somebody at school will get that one. And let's see what else we have here. So I've got, you know what I had was my little embossed piece. Did I leave it in there? Nope. Darn it. What in the world? There it is. Okay. So I thought this would be cool too because I have some little scrap pieces. So what I did was I actually ran this through the brick and mortar folder. So you can see if you run it through more than once, it'll have definitely really, really deep impressions, but it's got the impressions of the brick and mortar. And then what I can do is I had just a round piece left over. I'm definitely not going to do it on white. That will be entirely too washed out. So I have like this little round piece here. And then we could even do a little snowflake, something in the background. I feel like it needs to be a little bit more blue though if we're going to do it. Let's see what little scrappy pieces we have. I just wonder if maybe it does need to be a little bit darker like that. That looks pretty. Okay, and then we'll do it on, that is Misty Moonlight. Let's see what navy looks like. Kind of sticks out a little bit more on navy. So I'm going to do this one on navy. And then we're just going to have to add a little sentiment. So, same thing again. I just have to score this one. This is 5.5. This is obviously definitely going to need an inside panel since it's so dark. All right, so we have our embossed felt. So I'm going to make sure that I use the embossed side so it sticks out Now, one other thing I want to mention is I did measure this to be 4 by 5 1/4. I kind of hand cut it with my scissors, but when you emboss something, it kind of slightly changes the shape of it. So you kind of just have to realize that this might be a little bit unusually sized. So, and I don't want to press it too much because I don't want to press out the embossing. So I'm just going to lightly tap that, but you can definitely see the bricks on here, which is kind of neat. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing. I am using liquid glue because I do find that sticks better with the felt and the different materials. So this piece of DSP measures 4 by about, I think it's about 1/2 inch, might be 3/4. Yep, 3/4. And then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. And the only other thing we have to add is a, let's see what side do I like better. Yeah. No, that side. I do have to add a sentiment. So put this here. So kind of like what I'm trying to do for this is to not make the design portion of it too complicated, that it's kind of taking away from what we're doing, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to make it so it's a simple design. You could repeat it for multiple things. So you could use this with DSP. You could use it with the felt that you have. This, okay, so one thing, and I'm going to look at this because I did stamp this a long time ago. I'm trying to tell if it is or isn't. Smudgy. Hold on one second. Let me see. That's the reason I stamped this so long ago. I'm going to see if this is still wet. And I'm not, when I say long, I mean like, yeah. So one thing about this paper, this goes to show it's not very absorbent of the ink. And I noticed that because I just picked this up and it's smudged here. So I stamped this probably easily 4 hours ago. So I'm wondering if we're going to have to heat set this if we use this paper, which I wonder if my heat tool's plugged in. Oh, it is. I'm just going to go low just for a minute. But you can tell, so I did this many hours ago and this is what I just got off of it. So I'm guessing we're going to have to work with this. Again, this is the very first time I got this out, this paper. Since I just got it the other day, I was kind of just itching to use it. So, all right, I'm going to put this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do glue. This sentiment is from the Peaceful Moments bundle. I don't know if that is even still a bundle, but the dies that go along with it. So there's that. So again, simple. It definitely, you can see this. It probably just looks like I stuck something white to this, but when you look at it in person, you really can see the impression. So there's another one. And then what I'll do is I'm going to add a piece of white to this. Let's see if I have one here, because if I do, we'll just go ahead and do it. Yep. And I'm going to add another piece of that DSP. Let's see what I have. That one. I'm going to try to make something that kind of goes with it. I'm going to add one more thing to that as well. We'll go with that. All right, so this was the thank you that was actually from the autumn. So you could say, my heart is grateful for you. I'm going to do just simply have a beautiful day, just because I don't want to get too into this with some of these, because we're trying to make them a little bit quicker. I did stamp this in Bermuda Bay, so you can go, it goes to show you how much lighter that is on that paper. It really lightens it up. So I got a smudge and I did it crooked. So let me try that again. Try to keep my big fat thumb out of there. Let's see. If you're really being precise about this, you can absolutely use your Stamparatus, but sometimes I will do that, but typically I try not to do it when we're making these videos together, just because I don't want to get too many other things out. All right, so I'm going to just add that little scrap piece to the bottom, trying to make sure that is centered for the most part, like so. Flip this over. One other thing to note, and I just noticed this because it fell out of the holder I have it in, when you have felt that you use your glue with, you probably want to make sure that you clean off the tip of your glue. It's still on there, because you don't want to end up dragging either ink or fuzz somehow across your project with the leftover felt, so just kind of keep that in mind as well. And here's that. Pop this in. So my other goal, not really, I'm going to say we're just going to start this for now, because I noticed that I gave a bunch of Christmas cards away. I've probably given more cards away this year, which is a good thing, but I'm not finishing the inside. So my goal from now on is to try to also do the inside of the card. So that might make everything take another minute or so, but so there's another one. So let's see, we have our Misty Moonlight here. So I'm just gonna score this in half. Same thing, 5 1/4. I feel like this one looks a little bit, yep, this is a little bit bigger. I must not have cut this one down as exact. Okay, here's this one. Now, the other thing I did, because I thought it would be really, really pretty, is I cut a circle from, trying to get this out of the way, the poppy die, which is really pretty, on that pearlized paper, and it's really, really, really pretty. So we could do one of two things. We could put a piece of DSP, something more so that coordinates. That doesn't really necessarily go with the Misty. Let's see. This looks really pretty, and we can actually even go with this one sideways. Okay, so the pearlized paper, again, this is only the third thing. So I've done 1, 2, this is number 3 thing with it. I want to know what it will look like if we spray it. So with like the shimmer paint and the spritzer, if we kind of did like a watercolor thing. So I'm going to do that before we finish up, just because I want to see what it can do. I don't think this thank you that I'm thinking is going to fit in here. So what we might do is we just might do thank you. Actually, no, you know what? That kind of might come pretty close to fitting. So I'm going to be a rebel, and we're going to try it. The only thing I'm going to do, though, I'm going to turn on my heat tool in the background, because I know I'm going to have to dry this. So I'm going to turn it on. Pick this up. Try and keep it subtle. I'm going to go with tone on tone. So I'm going to do Misty Moonlight. One thing it seems to be with this paper is that because of the finish of it, it probably will feel like you're going to have to really stamp and hold to make sure that you get it exactly where you want it. Okay, so it's kind of like when you're stamping on window sheet. So let's see. That looks pretty good. It feels like it could move a lot if you're not careful, is what I'm getting at. And one other thing about this, I don't know if this is necessarily the way I stamped it or what, but it does seem to, whatever color you're using, it seems to be just a teeny bit lighter, which is kind of a neat idea, because then you can get almost like more than one out of it. But you can definitely see the ink is sitting on the top of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers so I can hold this long enough and not burn my finger. And then I'm going to just heat set this. And I'm keeping it moving because you can definitely smell the heat up of the paper. So be interesting to see what we come up with as demonstrators to do with this. This is really cute. I like that a lot because it's got a lot of stuff to it, but it's really simple. All we did was stamp. It looks really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to put this one on. This will just be simple front. We're going to add still going to need our inside because that inside is a little bit dark. Pacific Point is pretty much light enough that you can get away with writing as long as you're using black ink, but this one is just a little bit darker. Okay. What I should have done, which would have been a cool idea, was to use the metallic mesh ribbon. I could have wrapped it underneath, but I forgot. So we'll have to do that for another one. But I will tell you one other thing. This paper does die cut really, really easily. It's very easy to die cut. So I heat set that. Let's see. Nothing should have come off because I flipped it over. It looks pretty good. So once you heat set it, it doesn't look like it smudges. So we'll just put that there. Oh, crooked, Rachel, come on. Okay, there's that one. And actually that probably would be light enough, but we're gonna put that on just for the heck of it because I think we should. And I'm just gonna stamp just a little bit of something on the inside. We have that little confetti. No, it doesn't really go along with the whole winter theme, but I'm going to stick with the same thing. I'll do Misty Moonlight, and I'm just going to stamp this across the top. Okay, there's that. And if you want, you can add another sentiment in there. I'm just probably going to, again, I'm just using this. I'll probably just say, you know, thank you so much for Mrs. Rife, depending on who gets this one, which is weird, being Mrs. Rife. I'd much rather be Rachel. Probably should have done those little things on the bottom, but that's okay. The kids will probably like it, right? Okay, so there's another one. All right, so I want to, just because I want to see, I'm not sure what can be done with this. So let's take a peek. What do I have over here? I labeled all of these, I think, except one that Donna gave me. She sent me some labels. It was so kind of her. I think this is alcohol. Let me just check. Nope. Water. Probably should have emptied that one out. This one's alcohol. Got some in it even. Okay, I want to see what this looks like just for the heck of it. So we'll do it with Misty since we did it with that one. I have another piece here in case we needed to use this. So I just have alcohol in this. This is one of the older pens. The newer ones all have water. So I just want to see what this looks like if you watercolor. So it does kind of seem to stay on the top. Stays on the top of it. You can see it's sitting like right above it. So it's almost like it has a finish where it isn't going to absorb. So let's try another thing. Let me wipe this off. And close this up. The alcohol I'm not worried about because it will just evaporate from the lid in there. So that's no big deal. So I'm going to crank this again. And I want to see what it does when we heat it. If it moves, if it just dries. So it does dry. One thing, it does dry rather quickly. So it definitely does not take much effort to dry. There's a teeny little spot there I probably missed. So it dries pretty simply. So let's do this. See if this is going to fit. All right, so I'm going to die cut this. And then I want to try one other thing. I want to try doing it instead with water to see if that changes it. Just for the heck of it. We'll just kind of wrap up with that. So it kind of gives you like a neat look to it. Okay, so just to give a little more of a pop for something, what I'm going to do, oh, I'm not going to do it with that. I'm going to do it with the direct marker. So let me grab a scrap. I just want to do the same thing. So remember, this was alcohol with the refill. So then I have just the marker and I'm going to just do the flicking. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so you kind of have that splatter there. Again, I can see the ink sitting on top, so I'm going to hit it with the heat. And I'm going to actually grab this with the tweezers again. I'm going to hit it with the heat tool and just dry it. Okay, and I'm going to just give this a press. I'm going to drop it and just press to see if anything still comes off. So we did still have a little bit of, this is the spot I just did, but it does look pretty fully dry. There's a teeny bit, I think, right down here still that looks a little wet. Yeah. So it definitely doesn't dry as well being inked, but it does still dry. So it's kind of neat. This kind of looks like a little bit of like cloud with a splatter. So that's really pretty. So there is that. One other thing I want to try just while we're at it, and I don't know what this is going to look like. So I'm not going to use this piece because we're kind of at the end of that. But I had another piece here, and I'm going to see if I have one that's small enough. That one's kind of big. I'm going to use this one just because. So do that. And I have one more actual sheet. So I want to try this. And I'm going to heat emboss on it. And I kind of just want to see how it takes the heat embossing, okay? So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to turn my heat tool on. So apologies for that being loud. And I want to do a dark color. So I think I'm going to do Night of Navy. Do I have any of that left? Yeah, I have one Night of Navy left. I'm going to do Night of Navy, but I am going to do it still in Versamark first, okay? So I'm going to ink it in Versamark, then Night of Navy. Oh, you know what I need is powder. Let me grab that. Just going to do it in clear. Is that clear? Yep. Okay. So my clear powder and my handy dandy coffee filter. All right, so thank you. Looks good. So remember, if we don't have a powder that you're looking for, just dip Versamark, then do your color, then stamp it. Okay, and I'm gonna do a quick dump. All right, and just dump this back. Okay, I'm going to heat it, see what it looks like. Definitely stinky when you heat this paper, I'll tell you that straight off. It's a little stinky. Okay, so this is crazy. All right, this has never happened before. Not with anything I've used anyway, but so it's still kind of warm, so I don't want to touch it too much. But look at that. It is hiding the color. So I emboss. So normally, so let me just show you for a comparison. We're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to do, let me grab my cleaner. So just as a comparison, I'm going to do the exact same thing, Versamark, navy ink, clear embossing, but I'm going to do it on regular white cardstock so you can see what I thought it was going to look like. Okay, so let me just open this. All right, grab my navy ink. Okay. Only thing I didn't just do is I did not do my embossing buddy, so forgive me. I did forget that step, but I can't imagine that would change what I'm doing. So I'm going to just dump my clear embossing powder. Okay. All right, this will just take a second because that heat tool was still pretty warm. So I'm going to just heat this. Okay, here's what I thought it was going to look like. So normally what you do is you heat and then, oh, I missed a spot. Hold on. There we go. So you normally just heat it and then the clear will kind of just emboss over the color. But look what this one looks like. So it's almost like the paper ate the color, which not that it ate it, but it's definitely different. So it's not clear. So that's kind of crazy. It looks, I mean, it's definitely different because it's like a different color, but it is certainly not what I thought it was going to look like. So keep that in mind, depending on what you may or may not be doing for your embossing needs with this paper. But again, this is the fourth thing I've done with it. So it's not like I've done a whole lot of stuff. So I don't really have a whole bunch of expert opinions on it thus far, but I'm sure there's probably other stuff you can do with it. So if you use ink to stamp on it directly, it definitely still needs to be heated to be set because it does smudge a little bit. But I wanted to do one other thing, so I'm just going to use this for this bottom piece here. What's the other thing I was thinking I wanted to do? So I did alcohol was with this. We did splattering after the fact. I kind of wonder what it'll look like if you wet it. So I have my this is one of the newer Stampin' Up brushes. So I'm actually going to, let me do this first. Hold on. I'm going to try one of these things real quick. It's just a little bit of Misty Moonlight ink. And this will be my last trick for the day. And then I will let you know what ends up coming of the rest of these cards. So I'm just going to, a little bit of ink on here with some water. And I'm just going to, let's see. So kind of like a zig. And I might actually end up letting this sit just to see what it looks like. I can't imagine though, it probably won't dry. It might almost be kind of like the glossy cardstock, if you remember. It is curling just a little bit though, so it is kind of like it's starting to take the water, but you can see it on the back. It's still just kind of sitting there. You know what I have really quick? I'm going to do this just because I'm going to see what it's going to look like. I happen to have one handy from something else I probably didn't finish or I was cleaning with. I have a paper towel, so I'm going to wipe this off. Oh my goodness, my stomach is growling. I'm going to wipe this off and I'm going to just pick up some. Oh, it's definitely picking up a lot of the ink. So it really would kind of absorb it. I wonder if you could almost wipe it off. Let's see. You can. Look at that. So it's kind of like, it does give a little bit of a tone to it, but it's really like it was never even there. Well, again, this is an interesting, it has a super light color to it with whatever tint it picked up from that ink, but not really much sticks to it. So what really most surprises me is this whole thing with the embossing. So that's really crazy. And actually, as a matter of fact, now I look at this, this was not regular white. This was shimmery white. So that also does color really nicely as well. So you could, this is the shimmery white. So let's just finish with this. I'm going to heat this just to kind of seal it. Shimmery white is very much like almost like a watercolor type of paper though, because you can get the ink or the color to move on it similarly to how you can with watercolor paper. I'm trying to be careful because I know I have that embossing powder, so I don't want to heat it up enough that it moves. Alright, so since I did heat that, I don't want to touch it exactly yet, but just squeeze this out. So with your watercolor paper, you can see it still did keep the tone, as opposed to this one where it's so light you can barely tell that it's on there. So just different paper, so we'll just have to figure out what other things we can do with this. Again, this is a new paper. It's a specialty paper, so you get 2 sheets of 12 by 12 in the order when you order it, which is pretty nice. I mean, that's still plenty of stuff. You can make tons of cards with this. I also have to figure out what I'm going to do for my card swap that I'm taking part in since I finally got my order. Woohoo! So I know we made 3 cards today. I'm going to definitely try to finish up some more, and then I will post pictures of all of this to my blog. Probably not until most likely tomorrow evening. But if you have ever had any experience with this pearlized type of a paper and you have an idea for it, one other thing I'm going to do just while we're here, I want to just see how it tears, because that might be another cool thing you can do with it, is just ripping the edge, kind of making it look like a little bit of snow. You know what I might end up doing is using this for the inside of one of the cards, and then maybe putting this on the bottom, and then just putting this as an inside layer. Now I know it'll be really weird to kind of have the thank you all the way up there, but I could just say for whatever it was for Mrs. Rife. So that's really pretty. It definitely is a very pretty paper. I really like the finish of it. And when you see it in person, you definitely can tell it's really, it's really, really pretty. It's like a opaly shine, but definitely not sparkly necessarily like the shimmer. You can't see flecks in it, but I hope you guys enjoyed some of the cards we created today. Remember, the felt is retiring, so if you want to get your hands on that and lots of other stuff. The stamp sets we used today, aside from the Beautiful Autumn, this one is retiring, but everything else is from the annual catalog. I figured I would give you guys some stuff that I know you probably already have handy, because everybody loved that poppy bundle. It was so beautiful. The poppies and the peaceful moments were more the words, and then So Sentimental is great because it also has coordinating dies. So I thank you guys very much for joining me today. Again, if you have used this pearlized type of a paper before and you have a suggestion or something that you did with it, like a really cool project idea, please feel free to leave a comment here, and you can even make a separate post if you'd like to on Facebook, because we, since we're always crafting together, are always looking for ideas of things that we can use for cards to make them more exciting, more interesting, to learn maybe a new technique with your product that you already have. So please feel free to share away. Otherwise, I will see you guys again on Saturday morning. I'm shooting, I believe, again for 9:30. That's going to be over on YouTube. And then with next week being Christmas week, I'm kind of going to say I'm going to just see. I'll try and pop on if I can, but I'm really not 100% going to be able to commit to a time or date, depending on what's going on with just being home, because the whole family will be together for 2 weeks. So I hope, if I don't see you all before that, that you have a wonderful Christmas. I truly am grateful for all of your support through the year. Thank you so much for joining me, even when it's sometimes when I'm not supposed to be on, or I just pop on unexpectedly. Well, also one other thing to note, the catalogs, you should be receiving them, because there are a few people that have started to get them. I haven't gotten mine yet. I always mail myself one, so I know when you guys will be getting it. I know postal service, depending on places, is a little bit different. If you don't have a demonstrator and you would like a copy of the catalog, I have a fresh stack right next to me. Let me know. I'll be happy to mail you one out. If you do already have a demonstrator, though, I do ask that you get yours from them. But if you are a customer of mine in the past year, you should be getting one in the mail. So for any reason you don't get one, probably by December 31st or January 2nd, please feel free to send me a message and I will find out why it didn't come to you. And if not, I will send you another one. But I hope you guys have a wonderful time with your family. Enjoy it. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.